Hello everybody and welcome to my studio. My name is Lonna. I am an acrylic artist, and here on my YouTube channel I show you lots of different ways to work with acrylic paints, from beginner to advanced, mixed media. We have a lot of fun doing a lot of great paintings right here on my YouTube channel. So let's take a look at what we're painting today. Today we're going to be painting my color wheel crayons. Now this is definitely a mixed media project. Lots of fun, very easy, very beginner friendly. I think you'll find that you can use just about any medium with this one, whether it be markers, colored pencils, paints, whatever you have on hand will work beautifully for this design. So I hope that you're going to enjoy it. So I will be using today Deco Art Media Fluid Acrylic Paints. We're going to do a little mixed media, so I'll have a waterproof pen on hand for outlining, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So let's grab our paints and supplies and let's get painting. Okay, this project is on an 8x10. I've just got a wood panel here, and I base coated it with 2 or 3 coats of white paint, transferred on my line drawing, and then outlined it all with my Delimate pen. And I did use a ruler to make sure I got my lines straight on here. Okay, so you want to have a ruler of some kind. And then I took my white eraser and erased back all my graphite lines. Now there was one line that I got over a crayon that I didn't want over. Instead of stopping here, I went all the way to here. So make sure you know where all your lines are. And I just painted over that. It took like 5 coats of white. I can still barely see it, but I think it'll be okay. And then with my Delimate pen, it has a small end, 0.5 nib, and then it has a 1mm nib. So with all the thinner lines, I used the smaller end, and for my lettering, and for all of the really dark areas, I used the fat nib. Okay, I just see a couple places where I didn't get erased by my letters very well, and I just want to make sure that's erased. So if you do get your marker where you don't want it, just go in and erase or paint over it with some white paint. It will take you a few layers to get it back to the white, but you can get it pretty close to that. Alright, just want to make sure all my graphite lines are gone because I'm getting ready to apply some paint on here. So I know I've already erased this a couple of times, but I can still see some that I didn't quite get because we use graphite. It might take you a couple of times to get all of those lines off of there. So I just want to make sure that I've got everything off that I do not want on here. And just make sure your really dark ink is dry. Okay, let's brush this off into the trash can, and then we're going to get painting. Okay, so I want to create a kind of a brown color, a wash of color in the background. We're not really going to change the background color a ton, but I do want to create a lighter, little bit different color in the background. Not tons different, but just different. Okay. The paints I'm going to be using for this project, though, are Media Fluid Acrylic Paints. You can use regular acrylic paints if you want to, watercolor paints, whatever you want to use, colored pencil, whatever. But I will be using this paint. So I'm going to see if I can mix me a brown color. And that's kind of a nice color. We use just the 3 primary colors here, red, blue, and yellow. And that seems like a nice color. I'm really going to thin this down with some water. because I want this to be really light in the back. So lots and lots of water. And then we're just going to come in here and paint the background and just be a little messy about it. Don't try and make it perfect. Some places will be darker. Don't worry about your crayons. They're going to be different colors, so maybe a little bit darker down here. This is just a watercolory background, okay? And it's okay if you don't cover up all of your white. If you've got some white still showing through in there, that's okay. So don't feel like you have to cover everything. Right? Just a nice little watercolor background, just a little tint of something. I'm still seeing some white in there. I'm okay with that. I like that. I think it looks really rather cool. You can let it dry, and if you want to apply a second layer on here, you can certainly do that. But I think I'm going to keep it that color right there, and I'm going to dry it very quickly. We're going to do kind of like a watercolor technique on this. But you can just go in full acrylics and shading and all that stuff if you want to. And this painting was inspired by one done by the Frugal Crafter. Check out her YouTube channel. She did hers with watercolors. I'm using acrylics, but trying to get a similar effect as watercolors, but I'm doing like a color wheel kind of thing here. I do want to put a little bit of splattering on here. So, okay, so this is an optional step. I don't even know if I'm going to like it, but I'm going to thin down some blue here. And then not enough water. Doesn't want to release out of the brush. There we go. I'm going to splatter in the background. If I get it on my crayons, I'm not going to worry about it. If you don't want it on there, then certainly, you know, take a damp brush and remove it. I'm just tapping with my finger here. You get it a little darker than what you want. Now I've just added a little bit more water to my brush, so it's making much lighter areas. So if you want it to be more diffused, then just take, I'm just using a baby wipe and I'm just kind of diffusing that a little bit and taking it down, making it look more just lightly spattered in the background. I'm going to do the same thing with my red and my yellow. Those were the colors that I made brown with. And I may add some orange and green because those are the other two colors that we're going to be using. I'm going to take that off of my crayon there. A little bit more water in my paint. Alright, check your crayon, see if there's any area you want to remove the red. Splatters. I kind of like them on it, so I'm not going to do too much removal. I'm going to put some orange out here and some green, and we'll do a little bit of that splattering of those. We only have six colors and a marker that we're using. You can use black ink if you want to use black ink. We have white, a blue, a red, a yellow, an orange, and a green. My might make that a little bit of a dirty orange, not quite so bright. Goodness, can't get a splatter there for nothing. Alright, so this is quite a little bit here on this one, so I think I'm going to remove that. And then just maybe go in and diffuse some of that. Okay, I didn't diffuse the red. Okay, let's go with some green. Tone that just a little bit. Some blue, maybe some orange. I'll get a little bit darker green instead of a bright green. And I may go back over the background with another layer of my background color, and that will really set this in the background a little bit more. Now, splattering this stuff, totally optional, you know, because some people will like to do it, some people don't. I'm not a fan of it, but I do think it can give a good effect. Alright. Clean a little bit of this one off. And then maybe a little diffusing. Okay. So we've got a cool looking background going on here. I want to get this dry now. Okay, I'm just taking a little bit of a light wash of our background color, whatever was left on my palette basically, and quick little go over. I still can see some of the lighter areas in here, and I really like that. So that was just very, very sheer color. See, I can still see some lighter colors into here, over here. So lots of areas that I can still see some light color. Okay, I want to make a gray color, so I'm going to take some red and some green and thin this down. This is our shadow color, and we're going to start creating our shadows under our crayons. So this crayon is laying on top of those two and this one, but it's under that one. So we're just going to start creating a little bit of a shadow here. I'm going to come out away from this particular crayon, and we're going to go over this one and then over this one. And then just come along beside it there. I am going to tap that a little bit. I don't want that little bump of a line there. I do want to try and keep it a little bit straight. Don't have a whole lot of paint on my brush here, but I'm tending to go a little bit more on the left and bottom sides here. keep it off of my crayons here. Not sure I mixed enough. One more. One more. Do I have enough? Okay, so we've got our shadows. This one really could have just a scooch more under it. I'll probably darken that in a couple places. Okay, I've got that dry. I think I'm going to darken right next to the crayons a little bit more on some of them. So I'm going to keep that a thin color. Wherever you think your darkest shadows will be, we'll just add a little bit more on here. Be a little bit wider than what I want, but I don't think I'm going to be able to remove it now that I've dried it. Okay, I'm going to also just take a very thin line along the other side, maybe. Not sure that's what I want. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, so I just want to make sure that my areas that need to be darker with the shadow are darker. Maybe a little bit of shadow in here. You know, those V's are going to be your shadowy areas, darkest areas, so I like to make sure they stand out like they're supposed to. This is going to be pretty shadowy in here. Oh, forgot to bring my shadow over to my that one. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm giving it a once over to make sure I didn't miss any shadows going over something or under something. That can have a little bit of shadow on it there. I'm going to go ahead and add some of this shadow, just a little bit, where they kind of go over the crayons. Very sheer of this. Not a whole lot there though. Alrighty. That to be like a line. Right. I think I'm going to leave the shadows right there. So that looks pretty good. All right, let's start painting these in, and we're just going to use a wash of color. I'm going to start with my yellow one. Paint this one in yellow. Might have to get my easel out here. And again, we're just doing washes of color. I'm not going to wash my brush. I am going to get my easel. Maybe. I don't know. I think I might leave it on the mat because it might make it a little bit easier. Okay, so that one was yellow. This one we're going to make yellow orange. So I'm going to get a little bit of red. Actually, I can just grab my orange and my yellow and mix them together and make a yellow orange. More yellow than orange, obviously. I'm just putting little drops of paint out at a time because this paint goes a long ways. Pick up my thing. I'm having a hard time picking it up today. Okay, this one I'm going to paint yellow orange. A little bit more water in the mix here. I want these first layers to be fairly transparent. I want us to have room to, you know, update the color. Okay, I'm just going to wipe my brush out because the next one is orange. Again, thin it down with some water. We're making washes of paint here. Okay. And this one. Maybe I should get my easel out because that was not good. Alright, this one's going to be orange. Again, we're just going with a wash of color. Just a little bit more color on that one. Okay. I decided to get my easel out because it'd just be easier. Okay, the next one, this one, I'm going to make red orange. So I'm not going to wash my brush. I'm just going to grab a little bit of red and mix it in with my orange and make it a slightly different color. And I'm going to paint this one in a red orange. It doesn't look orangey enough to me. So add a little bit more orange in there. That looks a little more red orange. going to wipe my brush out, and red is our next color. So I'll thin that down. Make a wash of it. This one's going to be red. We're just doing washes of color, and our tendency is to go bright right away. So we want to try not to do that. As long as we can see the difference. Yellow, yellow, orange, 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 red, and red. Right now they're not super incredibly different from each other, but enough. Okay, so this one is going to be red violet, so I'm going to take my red and add a little purple to it, or add a little blue to it to make it red violet. I still want it to lean a little bit more on that red side. So I haven't washed my brush since I started. And just go right into the next color and keep going. So this should have some blue tones to it here, this violet color. Okay, wipe your brush out. And the next one is blue. Make a wash of blue. Blue's a pretty bright color here, so definitely want to be sending it as best you can. Just a wash of color here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Got our blue one. The next one is going to be blue-green. Okay, so we can either make this one blue-green or this one blue-green. They're both very close to this one, and then the last one will be just green. So I had originally tended to make this one green and this one blue-green to kind of bring a circle around to there, but I think I'll just continue and stop at green there. So this one I'm going to make blue-green. So I'm going to get some green and mix it in with my blue. And see if I've got a good blue-green here. Maybe a tad more blue in there. It's just a wash. Stay within your lines, but if you have trouble, grab a damp brush and clean up if you get outside of your lines here. Okay, now I'm going to wipe that out really good because I want just green for the last one. Now I'm doing a color wheel kind of theme here, but you can certainly make your crayons any colors that you want. And I did just freehand draw these, so you know, if the shape is not good for you, then you can definitely change the shape when you transfer on your pattern or redraw your pattern, whatever works. Okay, so we go from yellow to yellow orange to orange to orange red to red to violet to blue-green to green. They're looking pretty good, I think. Pretty darn good. I think I'm going to get these dry, and I think we're going to go around the wheel again, maybe, and maybe not. I haven't decided yet. I got to think about this. Let me get it dry. Okay, I think I've decided to go ahead and do another wash of color on these. Just a wash, wash, wash. And get them a little bit more pigmented. Okay, that looks much better. There's our yellow. And then our next one is yellow orange. Okay, the next one is orange. That's not orange, is it? Yeah, that's orange. Yeah, this one's orange. Not where I was going. Okay, the next one's red-orange, so we'll add some red in there. Get a little bit more. We definitely want to see differences in colors here. We don't want them all to be so. That one should be more of a red orange, I hope. There's really a lot of moisture in there. Okay, we're going to red down here. Put some more red out on my palette here. I might have to go over my orange one another time. It's not quite bright enough orange for me. So when I get done with all of my second washes here, I'll go back over my orange one. I probably still had a little bit too much of the yellow in my brush. Okay, then we're going to violet. A little bit more blue in there, I think. Now if you're just using regular Americana paints or something like that, you may have to do yours a third time, or you know, just a little bit more pigment in your washes. I'd rather you keep them light washes and have to repeat a third time, as opposed to getting them so dark that when we start applying a little bit darker color for shading, you have to go so incredibly dark that it just completely changes your crayon. There's blue. Add a little green to that now. So we go blue-green. Make a wash. And then we want just green. So I want to get that other paint out of my brush. When I do my green, I just want to have some straight green here. A little bit too much green in there because it's turning my black green, and I don't want that. I want my black to stay black. So that's another way you can tell if your paint is not opaque or not transparent enough, is if your black areas start changing color. Okay, I think it was my orange one I wanted to put another quick little, I'm going to wash my brush and thin some orange way down. Okay, then look at your other colors. If they don't feel vibrant enough, like this red orange to me does not feel vibrant enough, and neither does the yellow orange. So I'm going to maybe perk them up with another wash on here. Okay, and then this one was red-orange, so some red and orange. Okay, maybe that violet one could be a little bit, see if I can make a brighter purple here and wash that over it. I want it to be violet. It's not dry. Let me dry that because I'll just remove it. I like that better already. I like the more purpley color. I'm probably just going to do them all. That would probably just be the easiest thing to do. I'm going to let that one dry before I move into my two green ones here. I'm going to go back and do a quick little layer on the yellow. And when you're thinning your yellow, make sure you're using clean water so you don't change the color of your yellow. Okay, then our blue-green color. Maybe a little bit more blue in there. That was a lot of paint. And then just my green, and I'm definitely going to rinse my brush for my green. So I did 3 layers of the wash on here. And I think those look much better. I think I want to darken my shadow. I think I'm going to use a filbert brush to darken my shadow here, maybe. And we got that mix of, what is it, red and green. Makes that kind of gray color, gray-brown color, I guess. Alrighty, just looking to see if I missed any place. Alright, let's get this dry. We're going to start adding some detail on here now. Okay, I finished this one here to see if I would like it. And it looks pretty good. My orange, I feel like, just kind of got lost. I want the crayon part to look the most orange. And I kind of feel like it got a little lost in here. because I want the crayon part to be darker than the wrapper. Obviously, real crayons, the wrapper is a lighter color. So I'm going to start up here with my yellow one. Now the yellow one is going to be a little tricky, I think. I did add an extra color to my list here, which was black. And you can just use regular acrylic black here. So with my yellow one, I want a little tiny bit of orange mixed in with it because black is going to be way too stark for this. And we'll see how this is going to look. But we want to go along the edge. I'm going next to the shadow edge here. So it's yellow and a tiny bit of orange. We just want to create a shadow on here, but we don't want our yellow crayon to look orange. That's going to be the key right there. And this is a wide little line here. Okay, then I'll do a little bit more narrow on this side. Right along beside it. Okay. I'm going to brighten up my yellow on the crayon part. So straight paint here. And I'll just put some yellow in here. I don't know how well it will end up showing up, but just the straight yellow, whatever yellow you pick. Okay, and then we need to finish it with our bright highlight. These really finish off pretty easily. And I'm just going to create a line down the middle here. Here and right here, and I will probably repeat that because I want it to be bright. Okay, so there's the yellow one, and the orange one is done. With the orange one, all I did was mix a very tiny little bit of black in there, and then did it on each side, wider on this side, more narrow on that side, and then did my just straight orange on the crayon part. So let's move on to our yellow orange one. So with this one, I obviously want to do more orange for the shading part. Maybe not quite that bright. Let me add a little bit of maybe some red in with it. Tone that down a little bit. Since this is more pigmented paint here, not you know, a little bit of water is in it just to make it have a little more flow. It is not it is going to cover up that black a little bit, so I'm going to take a damp brush and try and remove it off of just the black areas. And then we're going to go along the other edge with a much thinner This is that orange and red mixed together. Okay, and so our crayon part, because it's a yellow orange, I want to get more yellow in my brush. Kind of mix it with that orange that's in there. See if this is going to be the right color. A little bit more yellow. Definitely more yellow. Okay, that one's not coming out quite as the color as I would like it to be, so let me grab a tiny bit of orange in there. That might be a touch much there. So I'm going to have to darken that shadow there on that. So the color I'm using to darken on the crayon itself is the shading color. Okay, that just doesn't look quite, I don't know, the crayon is not as bright as I would like it to be. Let's go with our highlight on this one. You can come back and do all your highlights at the end if you want. I got to get that dry because the crayon part is still. And I tend to break up my highlights. I don't like one great big long highlight on here. And I always repeat and tend to stay more in the middle of where I put that original highlight. Okay, that one doesn't look too bad. Once you have the highlight, man, things really tend to pop a little bit. Okay, the red-orange one. Red-orange. What am I going to mix with it? Teeny tiny little bit of black in there. Let's see how dark this is. Needs to be a little darker. Added a little bit. Goodness, I can't paint a straight line for nothing. A little bit more red and a touch of black in there. So it's the red-orange mix with more red in it than we did when we painted it, and a little bit of black. This edge. This is a more thin one. I'm not going to even go over my black line there. I'm just going to completely miss it. Okay, that could be just a touch darker, I think. A little bit more black in the mix. crayon part, obviously I want to brighten that up. So this was red-orange. I'll take my red and my orange and mix it together. And get that more vibrant color for the crayon part. And then we'll add our highlight on there. Dry the end of that so I can put a highlight on there. That's why I say you can come back and do all your highlights at the end if you want. Okay, gonna repeat. Oh, I got a little wide. Okay, those are looking pretty good, I think. Let's move to the red one, and I'm going to do red with just a little bit of black. Maybe just a tiny bit more black in there. Okay, that was a lot. There we go, a little bit richer of a color, like that. Okay, the wider shadow goes at the bottom. Okay, then we do a little bit thinner one at the top edge. Okay, let's take our red and brighten up our crayon part. And then our highlight. Looking good, looking good. Okay, our violet one, that one's gonna be a little tricky. We're gonna have to take our violet and add some black to it. So, red, blue, some black. This actually made a really dark purple when I mix that little bit of black in there with my red and my blue. Get you back on the camera. Okay. The thinner line here. Past my line there. That's a really dark shadow on that one. All right, let's see if we can brighten up our kind of purpley color here. Okay, I need some more red and some more blue out. Be lighter. I added a little bit of white in with this to make that purple color a little bit brighter. Get that purple dry. Okay, let's put the highlight on that one. I think that's going to help that one a lot because it looks really dark. So I did add a little bit of white in with my blue and red mix to get a little bit brighter purple to put on the crayon part. That's a little wide. Let me just put some fresh paint out because I'm not getting anywhere. These to line up a little bit better. don't think I'm quite as happy with the highlight on this one. Because that one just right there, it's not making me happy at all. And I don't know if I can remove it without taking off my purple. Yep. It took off my purple, so let me just... wash that back over there. I can't just put my highlights back on here. Everything got crazy on that one. Dry it off, and I'm going to try my white highlight again. Probably going down to a smaller. This is a 2 round. If I went to a 1 round or a 0, that'd be better. I'm going to leave it there. Alright, let's move on to our blue one. So we're going to take our blue and a tiny little bit of black in there just to darken that blue. It's kind of going to give it a little bit of a green tint, but it'll be okay. Okay, so this is our wider edge. Got a little wonky. I know we outlined with our marker, and on some of these we're not going to see that marker outline very well. So if you want to come back and redo that marker line, you sure can. Okay, let's brighten up the blue here. Try and get just blue on my brush. Might have to add a tiny little bit of white in with that blue to get it a little bit brighter. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let me dry it. We'll get our highlight on there. It is looking good. Brighten that up. Can't even see where we had our black on this side of it. we're going to our blue-green next. And I'm going to take some green and just mix it into that color that I used here. And this hopefully will be a dark enough color here. So I just added some green to that dark blue mix that I had there. Make our blue-green a little bit brighter. So let's see. Let's see, what did I do? I took that mix, that color right there that I had, and I just added more blue to it. So we can darken up the crayon part. Get that dry. And we'll highlight that. Okay, repeat that highlight. I'm just staying up on the very tip of this brush. Of course, you can thin your paint with some water. I am not thinning my paint like I normally do. Okay. One more to do. Okay, we're going to make a dark green. So we're going to take our green and a little bit of black and make a dark green. Let's see if this is dark enough. Looks pretty good. Let's brighten up the crayon part. And that's green. I might add a tiny bit, maybe, of some yellow in there, just to make that a little bit brighter green. I mean, just a scooch of yellow is all you're going to need here. Probably going to use that. Where's my yellow? Tiny bit of yellow in there. Might give us a little bit brighter green to pop here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Our highlight on this one. Okay, let me dry that. Make sure our green is dry. Alright, we'll repeat that because I'm using straight paint, not much water in my brush. It's going to dry pretty quickly. Now if you want to outline any of these again, you certainly can. But I think kind of finishes off our color wheel crayons. We can't really see the black that we put on this edge, so yeah, if you want to go back over that black, which I just might do, see if it will pop on top of that blue a little bit. I don't know if it will because the blue's pretty dark, but if you can try and bring your black back in there, that'd be good. The rest of them all look pretty good. I think they look great. I'm happy with how they turned out. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. It's a very more simple type of painting. It's just fun. I mean, wouldn't this be great on a bag for a kid that they carry their coloring books and crayons in, or even paint it much larger and frame it for a child's room? I think it would be great. This one was incredibly fun for me. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Please give me a thumbs up. Please comment and please share. I appreciate you all so incredibly much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.